All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown, day 416 by my count, I think. As you can see, there is copious amounts of traffic in front of me, which, for a Tuesday afternoon is, once again, a good thing. More people in front of you in traffic is a good thing. Just keep repeating that like a mantra, no matter how irritating it is. So, what's going on? What's going down? Well, I've kind of avoided talking about COVID stuff for a while, but I've gotta address something here, which is maybe a little more my beat as like the culture war analyst guy, which is constantly pointing out sort of like, okay, here's what people are saying, and then here's what people are saying about those people, and here's what people are saying about those people, etc., ad nauseum, ad absurdum. So what's the new nonsense? So the libertarian comedian Dave Smith was on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast just the other day. And his sort of sober assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic, the paradigm itself, like all of the claims, etc., was in line with Rogan's, which was, if you're a young person and you're sort of fit and healthy, you don't really need the vaccine, and even if you get COVID, you're really not going to get sick. And now you've got these Media Matters hacks taking the snippet of the video of the interview and saying that, Joe Rogan's promoting like anti-vax or, COVID hoax or COVID denial and all this. These are, again, like I would say these are not serious people deserving of serious consideration, framing things this way. However, they do have backing, and they do kind of get results. They get sponsors canceled from like Tucker Carlson's show if he says something that they don't like, right? So you have to take it seriously, while at the same time it's like it's funny because this isn't the first time that the Wokistanis have tried to come for Rogan, right? They try to go, oh my God, look what he said a decade ago on his show to some other comedian joking around or whatever. And the reality is, no one cares because Rogan's too big to cancel. And this guy, it has to be weird to be Rogan, because he's just a comedian who liked talking to people. And then he ended up as this like culture warrior by just like having basic opinions, like being like, I don't know, man, like, marijuana's fine. Blah! Right-wingers would be triggered. And then he'd be like, no, guns are fine. And then left-wingers are triggered. And it's just like the dude just exists. He just exists, and people get mad. Which is funny. He's turned it into a brand that's wildly popular. But yeah, the Wokistanis want to come for Rogan. And it's like, good luck, man. Like, there's just so many hours of this guy just talking to people and being a reasonable person that it just doesn't work. You can't make Joe Rogan fringe. Rogan isn't fringe. Like, Rogan's show is one of the most popular shows in the history of the world. Like, the number of hours viewed of Rogan and his interviews just dwarfs like everything. That's my understanding. Like, statistically, like hours watched. Like, Rogan's one of the most consumed people on the earth in the history of the world. And he has a reach that kings never had, right? So you want to cancel him, you want to try to isolate him, make him a marginal fringe figure. Sorry, no. There are people you can do that to. You might be able to do that to a Sargon of Akkad. You might be able to do that to a Styx, Hex, and Hammer. You can't do it to the Fear Factor guy. You just can't. For a variety of reasons, not just his popularity, but also he's tenacious. Like, you wanna come at Rogan with some argument about something that he's said that is, absurd or unacceptable. I'm sorry, that's an uphill battle. You're not gonna win that battle. Like, at the very least, all you have to do is say, "I was joking, Lenny Bruce." Ooh, nice red run. That wasn't even orange. That was just straight up red. Yeah, well, become ungovernable, right? Anyways. Yeah, no, it's not like, this is funny. It's not like I need to defend Joe Rogan. like the wall defends itself. Like Rogan's army defends itself. I don't have to. I'll include the links to some of these people who are spouting this nonsense that, Joe Rogan talking about masking or vaccines is like a major health hazard. It's like everything he said and everything Dave Smith said in that interview is accurate as far as I know. Basically, if you don't have, if you're not elderly and you don't have age-related comorbidities or obesity-related comorbidities, your risk of dying of COVID just starts dropping astronomically, right? And masking can be effective in a certain context. They're finally getting CDC, and today Biden was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna wear the mask outside." Ugh. And the media did a little orchestrated little thing. It's just so obnoxious. What they're saying is they're granting you permission to not wear masks outside, even though there's no efficacy to wearing masks outside. That's not the point. The point is that they gave you permission to not wear them, because there's a certain number of people who are dialed into the hysteria to such a level that they adhere to anything Fauci or other, any public health experts. Can I do public health experts? Air quotes. That made no sense 6 months ago, but now they're giving you, permission to, live like a normal person again. And there's some subset of our society that goes, "Oh, okay, now it's okay." It's this magical thinking, right? And it's the same thing with, being outraged. They're not actually outraged, by the way, but essentially faux outrage at Joe Rogan and Dave Smith for talking about, the efficacy of vaccines. Well, yeah, if you think you're at risk or you have some kind of comorbidity, go ahead, get the vaccine. Check with your doctor. Make the right decision for you. I've been saying this for a year now. Look, we can't sit here masked and gloved and terrified of reality and expect things to be okay. Again, we're watching just businesses just evaporate. Whole local economies just evaporating. How long are we going to sit here and allow these fearmongers to be 2 weeks to flatten the curve, somehow turned into over a year of people masking and oh my goodness. Oh, I just saw something horrendous. I won't even, yeah. Anyways, it's not real life. We can't just sit here forever waiting for permission to go back to work, especially now that we have a vaccine. And you have to just make the assessment of whether you're at risk or not. And if everyone else returning to life as normal is a horrific nightmare to you, well, then you need to figure out how to assess your own safety and create a safe path for yourself. Because the majority of the country is really over all this, and they want to go back. I saw a guy jogging with no mask on. Good for you, bro. Good on you. You don't need to wear a mask outside if you're not coughing on people or people aren't coughing on you. Like, the party of we're the party of science, like Democrats and liberals, managed to turn this pandemic into a demonstration of a poor understanding of risk assessment, public safety. Like, you're not near anyone, lady. Why do you have your mask on? There's no one around you. Like I was saying this to a friend the other day. It seems as though we've abandoned all sense and reasonableness and adopted a kind of weird miasma theory of disease. Back in the day, boys and girls, miasma, Google it, kids. People thought that like disease kind of just emerged from bad air, as they used to call it. Like, that it was the air itself. Like, we didn't have the germ theory of disease, like, at that point. And so the idea that there was these little living little particles inside of, like, water droplets, we just didn't know. It took, I don't remember the guy's name, not Pasteur, that's a different guy. He had to, like, make lenses and make it, instead of a telescope, he made a microscope. Instead of looking out at the stars, he looked down and in and found these little microbes in the water, right? And then we discovered that some of those microbes can kill you. So then we developed things like sanitizers, quarantine procedures, antibiotics, vaccines, inoculations, which is similar to a vaccine, but not a vaccine. For everything from smallpox to, we have a treatment for HIV, AIDS at this point, not necessarily a vaccine or a cure, but HPV, we got a vaccine for that, right? People seem to not understand the germ theory of disease. They seem to think that, if Joe Rogan says, yeah, if you're young and fit and healthy, you don't need a vaccine, which is statistically true. If we're going by the science, remember the science? It's very important that we follow the science. This is why I'm actually secretly a lib, is because I follow the science, even if it means that I'm in complete disagreement with all the other libs. It's fine. It's not a public health hazard for Joe Rogan to tell young, fit people they don't need a vaccine. It is in line with the data we have. And that doesn't matter to the Wokistanis who just get outraged if someone tells them to be. But, for you, the listener of me, I hope that you're a more reasonable person. You understand what's at stake here. You understand, the sort of the variables of the public health disaster that has been our pandemic response, and how, God, it's so bizarre to be like, what does Joe Rogan think about the pandemic? The guy's show used to be brought to you by the Fleshlight, okay? Google it, kids. Not at work. It's just so amazing because the cultural figures emerge, and then the sort of the neo-iconoclasts who want to destroy anyone who disagrees with them emerge to try to destroy a cultural fixture like Joe Rogan. He could walk it back and apologize. You're still not taking a show from him, no matter how many times you name drop Spotify as the, host of his content. You're not getting that guy deleted from the internet. You're not going to Alex Jones Joe Rogan. It's not going to happen. They have too much money tied up in him. He has too much cultural clout. He has too much influence. You're not canceling him. The best you're going to do, which is partially, I guess, what you're trying to do, is just counter message to your terrified base of listeners who think that Joe Rogan's alt-right, the pandemic is the worst thing that's ever happened, we're all going to die, if you go outside without a mask on, you're going to die, if you go to a concert, you're going to kill grandma. Unscientific, magical thinking by woke leftists who want to live in fear and won't accept it if you don't live in fear. It's something like that. I mean, like some greater than zero proportion of what's going on is exactly that. So I'll make that assertion as though it is a blanket assertion covering everyone. All right. That's enough about me and Joe Rogan and vaccines and COVID and, oh, God. It's Tuesday, guys. This week is going to suck. Bye.